Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and to another episode. Okay, today we're talking about what drives you to run. What is it inside that makes you want to be a runner, that makes you go out every day and run? This topic came to me after reading an article in Runner's World, and the Runner's World article was inspired by a Polish study. And the Polish study was looking at the difference between what drives ultra runners and if that is different from every other runner. So every other runner up to the marathon and then ultra runners. And they did find that there is a difference. So that's what I want to get into now. And I really think it's going to be a great discussion. I'm going to find out about you. I'm going to talk about what drives me with running and really how that's changed over the years, because it has. As I've got more experience, what drives me has definitely changed. So let me finish this run and we'll get right back into it. Alright guys, another great run. As always, it's a little chilly today, which I really appreciate. And I know that you guys living in cold climates, you might be rolling your eyes, but yeah, for us in Florida, we've got a couple days of winter and I'm really enjoying this cold weather. Okay, so as I said, great run, 10.11 miles or 16.27 kilometers, an average pace of 8:28 a mile or 5:16 a kilometer. Nice and easy. But I think my average pace might have been a little higher than that, but I was stopping and messing with the camera and I forgot to stop my watch. All right, let's go ahead and get into what drives us as runners, and we'll do that in the house because it's a little chilly out here. Okay, so listen, we're going to talk about several different things that drive you, but I first want to talk about this study because that's going to give us the areas that we can talk about. So I actually have a copy of this study printed out and I'm just going to read this for you guys. So the study looked at ultra runners and then runners of distances less than that, okay? And they divided motivations or what drives people into 4 categories. And those 4 categories were psychological, which included life meaning or self-esteem, achievement, which included personal goal achievement and competition, social factors like affiliation and recognition, and physical factors like health orientation and if you're concerned about your weight. Let me know in the comments which of these really drive you. Now, it's important to remember that just because you say that one of them drives you, it doesn't mean that the others don't drive you. Go ahead and write in the comments which one are most important to you. And as I said, it's chilly, so I'm going inside. All right, this is a bit of a challenge walking because I've actually got my camera attached to a tripod and I have my microphone wired to it. So this is not as easy as walking with a GoPro, which is usually what I'm walking around holding. Yeah, so let me get this all set up and we'll sit down, we'll talk about some stuff. All right, my friends. Okay, before I tell you about my motivations and before you really get into talking about yours, I want to tell you what the study found, because it might support what you already feel if you run certain distances. There was a significant difference between ultra runners and runners that run less in what actually drives them. Okay, so I'm going to read this word for word. Shorter distance runners rated psychological coping, self-esteem, competition, health and weight concern as larger motivators than their ultra running colleagues. This is pretty important, I think. I don't know if it's really that important, actually. It's just different. If we're talking about it, it's got to be important. I don't think it's actually that surprising. You can see a big progression if you're training for a 5K, and if you're at the start of your running life or your running career, competition is a big part of it, you know? They separate these races into age groups. They promote the competition by breaking results into age groups, so you get to compete against people with your own age. And the competition it's a big driving factor. If you're an ultra runner, you're probably not struggling with your weight as much as someone who is doing a Couch to 5K program. I guess I don't want to come across someone that puts ultra runners up on a pedestal, because that's not what I'm trying to do, right? You know, we're all out there just doing the best we can, no matter what distances. But someone that runs, you know, 50 miles, 100-mile races, they're probably not as concerned with their weight because they've been running a lot longer. Or at least, you know, one can probably assume they've been running a lot longer than someone who is, you know, run a couple of 5Ks. Let's move to a different location for the next paragraph or two that I'm going to be talking to you about. I think that's exciting, and it kind of, I don't know, mixes up the video, doesn't it? Just a bit, right? You can see different parts of my house, even though you all know this is one big room, and I'm just moving to different parts of it. So, we're gonna go from the dining room to sitting on the edge of the sofa. You can see the kitchen in the background. And you guys know my house pretty well, right? Okay, so this is what's important for ultra runners. This is what was more important, or what they found is the bigger driving factors for them. Personal records, traveling and racing with friends is more valuable than competing with other athletes. It sounds like it would make sense. You don't have to read too far into it. Personal records mean a lot to ultra runners, so they're really competing against themselves. Now, not to say that shorter distance runners aren't competing against themselves, because whenever we get a personal record, it's a time for celebration, right? And I will celebrate every single one of your personal records that you break, because ultimately we're just competing against ourselves. Racing with friends is more valuable than competing with other athletes. On a lot of big races, you're gonna see that they have paces, and these paces, I know, I've only done 100-mile race, and I know that I can put my success down to the guys that I was running with, because they really kept you accountable. And it was fun just being out there and running with someone and experience that exhaustion with someone else, and having the paces to push you through to the other side. I think we're at about mile 60. I'm running with Eddie and Sebastian. Sebastian is our pacer, and he's really holding this whole thing together. Eddie and I are in first and second place right now. So that's the update. So about 40 miles to go, and we're having lots of fun. See ya. Okay, let's have a change of location. Let's go. Okay, I've got to be careful I don't trip over my microphone wire. Okay, now we're back in the office. Back in the office, we're sitting on this sofa. I want to talk about my motivation briefly and let you know how I've changed over the years. In the beginning, when I started running, I'd say there was a lot of self-esteem factors. So I'd want to go out, I'd want to compete, and it would make me feel good about myself. I've been running for 13, 14 years, and now that is such a minor part of it, but looking back, that was a really big part, right? It really would build up my self-esteem when I'd go to races and I'd do better and I'd compete against others. I think now running gives, I don't want to say it gives my life purpose, because, you know, that's what relationships are for. That's what having partners and family and friends, that's what they're for. But running does give my life meaning in that it gives me something to do. It's something that is mine. I can go out and run, and it does make me feel good about myself. Moving on, achievement. Personal goal achievement and competition. Back when I was running 5Ks, 10Ks, that competition, that was the driving force. That is really what would drive me to go out and do it. I really thrived on that competition. Now, that holds a lot less appeal for me. My personal goal achievement it's more of a driving factor. If I do an effort on a training run that makes me feel good, that I know I pushed it, that gives me a real sense of satisfaction now. So that is how I have changed as I've got older, as my running career has progressing through the years and doing loads of races. Now I find that just Doing it for me is the most important thing. Okay, we're off again. We're off again to move things. Let's see what I can do here. All right. You guys, hello? Okay, how's this? All right, hold on. How's this? Okay, good, this is a different angle. This is one that we haven't done before. All right, exciting stuff. This is what the article said about ultra runners, all right? Now, and I am gonna relate it to something else that I found in like my athletic journey that I've been on through my life. We know that ultra runners, we know that they said that personal records traveling, racing with friends is more important, and finding a like-minded group feeds their need for affiliation. We're talking about ultra running right now, okay? Now, I know that you and I, we're a part of things like we're on Strava. We share our runs on Strava because that gets us in with a like-minded group of people, and we get to share our stuff with them. We tune into YouTube. You guys are watching me and my channel because perhaps this gives you a sense of affiliation, and we're a part of a family, right? We're a group, and you come on to learn about my running, and we can have discussions in the comments, and you know, it's fun. It makes us one big family, and we get to talk about our running journey together and our experiences. This is what they say: the sense of belonging to a specific society gives you the feeling of being original and extraordinary. Ultra runners, they're belonging to a different group, and it makes them feel extraordinary. And when you practice and compete in that group, it helps impart the power to overcome obstacles that would be impossible to conquer individually. I think that being in a group, like us right now, you and I, we are talking to each other, although it seems like I'm doing more of the talking, but you and I, we're having a conversation about what drives us with ultra running. And I think that also imparts to you, I know it imparts to me, more motivation to get out there. So I feel that we're part of a group. But the study showed that ultra runners have a stronger sense of affiliation, or that's more of a drive for the reason why they do it. Do I need to change the camera angle again? I think so. Let's bring this over here. Okay, here we go. All right, boom, different angle. Look at the kitchen from a different angle. Okay, this is fun. I know what I wanted to share with you. Okay, so I thought about what they said about ultra runners having more affiliation. They valued affiliation more than runners that run shorter than ultra distances, okay? And that made me think of the beginning of my athletic journey. I started in triathlon, and I would compete, and I loved it. I loved the competition. I loved the drive. And I think at that stage of my life, which I was a lot younger, I was probably, you know, 12 years ago, I was still doing triathlon. I loved the competition. But then when I switched to running, I'm getting text messages from Mark. You know Running with Mark? All right, he's texting me right now. Hey Mark, I'm gonna get to you in just a second, as soon as I'm done filming this segment. Back to me. When I was younger and I was doing triathlon, there was a big sense of competition, and that's what drove me. But when I decided that triathlon wasn't for me and I switched to running, one of my reasons, and I remember telling people this, like, why did you switch from triathlon? Because of the community, right? When you go to a running race, even if it's just a 5K, a 10K, there is a sense of community, and everyone's nice, and everyone is more, I don't know, more touchy-feely and huggy, and it's fun, you know? No one's out to get each other, and I never felt that way when I was racing triathlons. When you'd get to like the transition zone and you set up your bike in the morning, there was just an atmosphere of competition. And it's fun, but it wasn't satisfying. There was just something about it. I don't want to put it down. It's just different, okay? And when I switched to running, I found that the community was more huggy, more touchy-feely, you know, not physically touchy-feely, but it just seemed tighter. And then when I started doing ultra running, and this is how I can relate to the findings of the study, I found that even more so, okay? That sense of community is even more so with ultra runners. The atmosphere around the start or the finish, or even at the aid stations, is so fun, and such community, such a feeling of community, it's like, it's hard to get over, right? And you can really see the difference between that ultra running community and other races. And it could just be because it's smaller, right? It could just be because it's a smaller group of people, and a smaller group of people tend to come together and they can be a little closer and tighter. I would be really interested in your thoughts. Write in the comments below. I want to know what drives you, and if anything I've said throughout this video, if you can relate to it. I guess when it comes down to it, I'm just wondering if you agree with or disagree with what the study found. And you know I'm going to link to that study in the show notes below. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. But thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. New running videos every single week. Be kind, be happy, run well, and I'll see you next time.